One Sunday morning in early June, radio producer Kelley Libby took a little trip to the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Now that's just on the other side of the mountain from where she lives in Charlottesville. Her destination was the Cross Keys Ruritan Hall in a small farming community near Harrisonburg. She wanted to meet and hear the Shape Note singers who had come in from all over the country just so they could sing together from a new songbook. I'm Tanner Latham, and this is Authentic South. It's a storytelling podcast that explores Southern culture through food, art, travel, the land, interesting characters, and the music that defines our region. Scholars believe that American shape note singing originated in New England in the late 18th century, and it soon migrated to the South, where it flourished in Protestant churches. You may be familiar with one distinctly Southern tradition of shape note. It's called Sacred Harp singing, and it was featured about 10 years ago in the movie Cold Mountain. But this shape note singing in Virginia was different from Sacred Harp, as Kelley explains.
Like a lot of shape note sings, this one starts with folding chairs. And the way the chairs are set up is key. They're arranged in a square, all facing the middle. Each side of the square is for a different voice part. So there's treble, alto, tenor, and bass. Shape note singing is not a performance where the chairs face an audience. You're there to sing for each other. This is how every tune starts, with something called singing the notes, kind of like do, re, mi, except this one goes fa, sol, la, mi, fa. And because this is harmony, one voice part might be singing fa, while the others might be singing sol, or la, or mi. On the page, the notes take different shapes: triangle, rectangle, circle, and diamond. The shapes tell you what note to sing. Sometimes this style of singing is referred to as Sacred Harp. That's because there's an old tune book called the Sacred Harp, and most shape note singers use it, especially in the Deep South. But today is the very first all-day sing where they're using a new book. It's called the Shenandoah Harmony, and it's bringing back some old tunes that aren't in print anymore, some of which came from right here in the Shenandoah Valley. This one is called Burn. Across the road from the Ruritan Hall is a cemetery, and during a break from singing, a big group of us walked over. I saw that somebody had put flowers on a grave. It was the grave of a man named Ananias Davison, who it turns out is part of why we're all here today.
Davison was a Scotsman. His family immigrated down the valley in the mid 1700s.
That's John Del Rey. He's a longtime singer and singing organizer, and one of the people who helped compile the new Shenandoah Harmony book. So there are a number of his tunes in this book?
There are, but for the most part, he was a compiler, an adapter, and arranger, and he was able to coordinate with other people. I like to think of myself as being able to do that too. And he coordinated with people all down the Shenandoah Valley, all through Virginia, and all through the western Kentucky and Tennessee. And he gathered tunes. He was like a song catcher, but in the early 1800s.
In early America, this was religious music, but people who do shape note singing these days come from all different backgrounds. Some are religious and some are not. Some people come from just down the road, and some are here today from as far away as Chicago and Oregon. There are Mennonites in modest clothing, and then there are people wearing shorts and t-shirts with Birkenstocks. Sitting in the square of this shape note sing, I feel transported to the Shenandoah Valley of the 1800s. I picture harsh winters in a new world, and a long walk through dark woods to arrive in a place made of rough boards, a place that probably brought momentary peace and transcendence in what was likely a pretty rough frontier life. I don't know if it's the harmonies or the lyrics or the sensation of the music passing through my body or the sheer volume of all these voices colliding. Maybe it's the total effect, but when we get to this tune, I cry. The first verse goes, "I am a stranger here below, and what I am is hard to know. I am so vile, so prone to sin. I fear that I'm not born again." It's a song that's full of fear about what it means to be human, to be alone in the wilderness of existence. But for me, there's something comforting about being a stranger among other strangers and making this sound together. For the Authentic South podcast, I'm Kelley Libby.
A special production thank you for this episode goes to Jesse Dukes. Thanks also to Zach Bullock and the Northern Shenandoah Valley Shape Note Singers. My biggest thank you is to contributor Kelley Libby, who's an associate producer for the show With Good Reason. It's a program produced by the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities. You can hear more of her stories at withgoodreasonradio.org or find her on Twitter. It's simply @Kelley Libby. I'm always looking for contributors to the show like Kelley. So if you have a story you think would be perfect, email me at tanner@AuthenticSouth.com. Now, the song you heard at the beginning of the show and that's playing now is not Shape Note, but it is a beautiful instrumental piece called The Core by Birmingham, Alabama band War Jacket. Hear more of their music at warjacket.com. To see a gallery of pictures of the Shape Note singing event captured by photographer Sarah Cumming, and to hear other episodes of the show, click on over to AuthenticSouth.com. You can also hear us on WFAE.org, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud. Until we go south again, thanks for listening.